on the dedication. If you get lost, let me know.
Something's wrong, man. It works. If it doesn't work, I have to find it. That's because you changed it to 4:30. To 3:65.
Power was up. Power was up.
Oh, cool.
Power was.
Chairman, you guys are live.
Thank you. Yep. Now you're in Candy Camp. Technical problem. Alcohol wasn't plugged in. That's all David about.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep, thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to the regular and executive session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, also sitting as all special taxing districts. October 20, 2025, 9:04. Board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic conferencing. Jonathan, Supervisor Lyons is excused, he's not here today. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Pankhurst, can you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes, would all of you join me in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified in the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Desiree, do we have any emails?
We do not.
Anybody from the public that wishes to address the board? And I don't have any speaker forms. Bring it back to the board for presentations, proclamations, and appointments. During this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss the presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and the Yuma County Board of Adjustments. No legal action will take. Any appointments? None? All right, we'll move on with item number 1, presentation of the mix, Yuma County en el Condado informado by Yuma 77, the Yuma County Government Channel.
Welcome to the Mix. Yuma County Human Resources has launched YouGov, a new leadership program designed to strengthen the skills and commitment of upper management. The 9-session series, running through December, equips participants with deep insight into county operations, budgeting, governance, and public service ethics.
So the benefits to the community is really going to be having departments and offices that are well-rounded in how Yuma County works, providing better information and knowledge to our community members and also have that knowledge trickle down to their staff and provide better customer service.
Led by top officials and subject matter experts, YouGov blends practical knowledge with forward-thinking leadership tools, including access to Franklin Covey's learning platform. The Yuma County Health District is urging residents to eliminate standing water around their homes following a recent rainfall and spike in mosquito activity. Surveillance traps have detected increased numbers of Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, known carriers of diseases like Zika and dengue. Though no local transmissions have been reported, officials say these mosquitoes breed in small containers with minimal water.
Even the smallest child's toy you think may not be a breeding site for mosquitoes can be. You know, the sprinklers come on, fill it full of water, that mosquito thinks, hey, perfect place to lay my eggs, lays their eggs. Those eggs then dry out. The next time your sprinklers come on, re-wets that egg, and then we've got mosquitoes breeding again.
To reduce risk, residents are asked to eliminate standing water around homes, use insect repellent, and wear protective clothing during peak mosquito hours. Local officials are reminding families to prioritize safety this Halloween. Parents are urged to accompany young children, use flashlights, and choose costumes with reflective materials. Trick-or-treaters should stay on sidewalks, cross at corners, and never enter a stranger's home. Drivers are asked to slow down and stay alert in neighborhoods. Authorities also recommend checking all candy before eating. With a few simple precautions, Halloween can be both safe and fun for everyone. Before we go, Yuma County departments will soon begin relocating to the new Administration Services building at 197 South Main Street. Residents are encouraged to check the county's website for updates on department openings and service availability. Thanks for tuning in. Residents can catch the latest episode of The Mix by visiting yumacountyaz.gov and navigating to the VOD section. You can also head over to the Yuma County's official YouTube channel. English episodes are available under the Mix playlist, while Spanish-speaking viewers can find the Spanish version under El Condado Informado. Both platforms offer access to current and past episodes. ¿Prefiere ver The Mix en español? No se lo pierda. La versión en español del programa está disponible bajo la lista de reproducción El Condado Informado en el canal oficial de YouTube del Condado de Yuma. Gracias por acompañarnos. We'll see you next time.
Chairman, I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to congratulate the city of Yuma. They got an award for their informational program. So just like to congratulate them and let them know we noticed.
All right. Moving on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And we have items 1 through 12 or 13. 1 through 13.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull item number 7 just for a quick question.
Item number 7.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the rest of the items of consent, the rest of the consent items, with exclusion number 7.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve consent calendar items 1 through 13 with the exception of 7. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item number 7, Development Services.
Hey, man. I just had a quick question. Looking at the plat, are they required to carry Fortuna Road all the way down to County 13th now with that subdivision?
Yes, Fortuna Road will have to be improved up to the access point for the subdivision.
Okay, so not necessarily County 13th, but whatever the access is for that plat or that subdivision.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's the only question I
I'm
have.
not sure if they obtained the variance for the perimeter road improvements, but like I said, County 13th Street is a perimeter road, and if they did not obtain a variance or a modification from the subdivision regs, they will have to improve County 13th as well.
As well, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, I'll make a motion, we approve item number 7 as presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 7 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to discussion and action items. Item number 1, County Administration, the Office of Management and Budget. Tony, good morning.
Fortress, members of the board, Tony Struck, Budget Director from Office of Management and Budget. So it's my pleasure today to give you an update on how we finished last fiscal year based on what's currently the unaudited actual numbers, and then how we did against our projected numbers in the budget, which is very important thing that we try to do. So I'm going to look at actual versus projected revenues, expenses, give you some sales tax graphs, and I'll just get to it. So first slide that we look at in the first column is the amount that we projected during the budget process. And then, actually this is not the right slide. Yes, it is the right slide. These numbers are not updated, but we did finish, if you just look, the actual, we had $2.4 million of additional revenues. This is the incorrect slide, but it's very similar to last year. This is, we finished two years, basically $2.2 million, $2.5 million above where we projected. So that additional fund balance at the end of the year is basically classified as excess reserves and can be utilized for purposes during the year if needed.
Tony, just, we do have the correct one, okay?
Yeah, we have the correct one.
This is the wrong presentation, isn't it?
There must be a newer one up there.
You can blame the technical glitches on the new system, the new Microsoft
On
365.
the new building?
The new building, yeah, the new building is the fault.
Moving, yeah.
Nobody here, everybody moved on. We have the old presentation, oh, there you go. That's the one we have here.
Reset.
Mhm.
Start over.
Let's
Didn't
start
have the
over.
right stuff, so the numbers. All right, so first set, nothing's changed over that, but this is the correct slide.
Yes, we have that one.
Good, so that's in the amended budget. You could see that we were projecting about $36 million of revenue in the budget. We ended up starting the year a little bit better because last year we finished the year 2.5, which is what we were showing earlier. This slide shows that we were about 2.2 million over on revenues compared to where we were projecting, and we finished about 287,000 lower on our projected expenses. So basically 2.5 million of additional reserves.
Good.
So this slide is, we're looking at just general fund revenues. You can see that we finished, we had $122 million pretty much budgeted for our revenues. We came in 2% less than that, about 2.277 million. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. We projected 117 million, and we finished 119 million, which is 2.2 million above where we thought we were going to. And we'll talk about that as well. This slide just shows our total sources. Total sources includes transfers in and other revenues. It's very, very close to our total revenues. We didn't have a lot of variances in that. As far as expenses, we budgeted about 109 million. We finished 6.3 million less than what we budgeted. That's basically some reversions or the savings we have in personnel and supplies and services. We projected 103 million. We came in 287,000 less than that. So we were within 0.3%. And our goal on both revenues and expenses on our projections is to finish plus or minus 3%. So anything less than that, we were on track on both of those. It's critical to budget projections appropriately so to make sure we're not overstating our need for additional revenues and stuff like that. Total uses, again, this includes our transfers out number, so same thing, finished 6.3 million under budget and 287 below projections. We look at the historical revenues. This is basically just by category of how we've done over the last 4 years. And what you'll see here is that fiscal 24-25 actually came in below 23-24, and there's a couple reasons for that. 23-24, we received two refund payments for the Altex. About $2.6 million is included there, so that's one-time revenues that we received last year. And then this year we had the Agua Caliente property tax refunds. That was about 1.2 million of reduction of property taxes, and then I have the exact number, 2.2 million or in interest expense that we had. So that was a offset to our revenues instead of an expense. So that's the two reasons we finished below prior year. But if you exclude those one-time expenses, our revenues would have been $123 million this year, and last year's 119. So we're $3.9 million higher on looking at just recurring revenues, and that's about 3.3% increase. So
If we hadn't had to pay back the solar plant, okay.
and if we take out the one-time refunds from Altex.
Any question? Have you determined yet what the impact of that government shutdown is going to be, if there's any impact on revenues?
Well, currently for general fund, we don't see that there's any impact.
Correct.
It's a shutdown, but the impacts would be maybe on the grants and, like you said, the health district that you approved, the funding for the WIC and stuff like that. So,
It wouldn't be revenue. You don't get.
revenues. Revenues this year. So we're still getting. I think we have August revenues for sales tax, and then in mid-November we'll get September. So none of those numbers are going to really say what the impact.
Yeah.
So the first numbers we're going to know will be till December before we get our October sales tax numbers. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And we started out this year strong with both county and state sheriff's sales taxes. So hope positive, at least that we're ahead of things going into the shutdown.
Tony.
All right, this is a very busy slide, but it's just it's all of our revenues, and I like to look at how we did against budget, and you can see this is the negative amount in property tax revenues. That's the refund, the Agua Caliente. That's why we finished below that. We finished within 60,000 of what we budgeted on property tax revenues. Had a very strong year in vehicle license tax. That's one that's very difficult to project because there's ups and downs, but it finished well above what we budgeted. We only budgeted a 2% increase, and we ended up increasing by
3.5. 3.5?
over the year. We ended up quite a bit higher. How about that? So we finished $2.3 million below budget. Here's the negative interest payment that we made for all of the property taxes sent back to 2010 on that case. Charges of services, I think that was off by indirect costs. We didn't have the number when we budgeted last year. Intergovernmental, we received 600 and some thousand from Altex refund this year. And then the number license and permits, if you remember back in second quarter last year, building permit revenues were well below budget. And I think Craig thought it was going to bounce back, and it really did. It bounced back, and we ended up, our projections were 316,000 short. So we had a very strong ending to building permits at the end of the year. We did well on property taxes for projections, vehicle license tax, county sales tax. We were slightly below where we thought we'd be on the state shared, but this grouping was well above budget. That got us our 2.3 million of excess revenues. The other thing I don't mention on this is that investment income, accounting has to book unrealized gains and losses at the end of the year, and so that's really a non-cash thing. We really don't have that money, even though maybe it says we had, 500,000 of unrealized gains. What I did is I reversed that out to show what the real dollar impact. So that's just the cash dollars. So we finished, we didn't know at the end of the year how the market was, but it ended up better. So we missed that by about 205,000. That's positive. Just wanted to point that out. That's why that's highlighted.
What's included in intergovernmental? What's included in that line, intergovernmental line?
Intergovernmental has grant revenue. It has our there's some payments that we get from the states. There's a lot of state reimbursements. There's them at the 550,000 or 550K that we get for, it's on the state lottery thing, but I think it's to help fund one of the retirement things. We also get another 250,000 based on our population. Every county under 200,000 gets 250,000, and I think that's for juvenile correction payback. So there's a number of, mostly it's grants and anything we receive from other governmental agencies. This historical sales tax graphs, you can see that, over time, state shared sales taxes increased. This year didn't increase as much. The state and the LBC had predicted slower growth. We had budgeted, I think, 3.7% increase, so we fell a little bit below that. We were 2.7% higher than the prior year, though. So it's still positive, kind of leveling off. I think we budgeted very conservative this year for that category. Like I said, vehicle license tax, it's kind of all over the place. It stayed kind of steady for a while, but we really had a big increase. This year, it's actually almost 8% higher than the prior year, and we only budgeted 1% or 2% increase. So that's why we were over line item. On the county sales taxes, you look at the totals, just it keeps increasing as we historically has shown, very modest, around 2 to 3%. But we ended up actually, the total is 3.76% above prior year, so we finished the year pretty strong in that category. You'll notice in the retail, this is our biggest source of county sales taxes. We're basically flat, only 0.1% above prior year. When you combine that remote sales down here, that's still strong. We finished almost 1% higher in that category. So expecting that would be the category to be concerned about going forward with if there's a decrease in spendable money. I mean, people will cut back in the retail category.
Yeah, they do.
I'm surprised that the remote sale item hasn't gone up. I mean, my daughter doesn't buy anything in the store anymore. What's the explanation for that being so low and the retail being so high? I mean, it seems to me like that's shifting quite a bit. I don't see it in the graphs.
A lot of people are buying on Amazon, and we're kind of in between.
I guess my
areas,
question is, do we have a true picture of that? I mean, are they reporting the remote sales? China reporting the remote sales, Shine, whatever that outfit is. I mean, I see a bunch of kids and they're all shopping in the internet now, and everything's being delivered at home. So I don't see that reflected on the trending. It's very low, and it's still very low to my understanding. But it could be that I'm just an outlier. Am I an outlier? Yeah, I see a lot of kids.
I think that's why retail sales is flat, is because the other thing is right now people are holding on to their money. They're not spending on retail and on remote sales. They're
buying new cars. That's why the VLT is.
Yeah, they're buying new cars, and that's it. Yeah.
They went with an old car for a lot of years.
Yeah.
It's got a couple of leather jackets. But
But
the contracting line item, we had a big bump. If you remember last September, we had a negative for that month, and that was related to prior year amounts that they took back from us. But then in December, we had a big, $600,000, which is unheard of. So I think there were some back dollars in there as well. So we had 2.8 million in total sales. That's 21.9% above last year. That's the highest since fiscal 2021, where I think we were at 2.7 million.
Can see a bump on that.
Yeah, so this year back there seems like that was a pleasant surprise, and that's what really kind of finished the year strong with that. Now looking at expenditures. 12. Total expenditures were up 102.8 million. That's about a 9.9% increase. Personnel was up $6.1 million, 10.2% increase. And the reason behind that is that's a full year of the comp study increases that were implemented at the end of the prior fiscal year. We also added 5.69 FTEs to the general fund. And most of the elected officials got compensation increases last year as well. So, and those were budgeted, but it's one of the reasons why we finished just a little higher. On the supplies and services, it was about 3.3 million higher than last year. The Altex increase was 1.3 million, and remember that's approaching $12 million now. So that's a pretty significant amount of our general fund budget. We also had life cycle was for the computers. There was a large amount of that for the general fund replacement. Plus we had the sheriff MDCs, which was included in that. That's about $500,000. Medical services and the juvenile detention had a fairly significant increase this year. They did implement a pilot program to try to reduce those costs. And for this year, we'll see how that addresses that expense. And then user license fees continue to go up as we shift to more cloud-based solutions. Building maintenance is another cost that was up, and a lot of those costs were formerly in capital outlay, but accounting is putting those down into non-capital items. So basically just concentrating on this, because we're talking about projected, we were very close on that. The personnel, 3.9 million of below budget. That's a 5.6% savings. We were at 5.6% savings as well, but last year we absorbed the increase the last 3 months of the comp study within that. So that's what brought that down. In prior years, we were 10.4% and 8.7% below budget. So we're seeing a lot less vacancies. I think we're down below 49 at the end of the year. And last year we were like 60, I think 64 vacancies at the end of the year. Juvenile, both administration and detention was a decrease, and the assessors basically they've filled all their positions. They had lots of vacant positions throughout the time, and they've done a great job of getting there up to fully staffed. And then just significant changes to result in the 2.2 million savings. We had savings in fuel, oil, and lubricants. We'd anticipated fuel prices going up, I think mostly in the sheriff's department, and so we budgeted a bunch for that. But they also did add a larger tank out in the foothills. I think that's resulted in some savings for the sheriff. We were below on the life cycle. We budgeted a lot more. We came in a lot less. I think there was concern about tariffs and things from China, and so we kind of build that into that. 261,000 of savings in travel and training and school classes. We had anticipated, I think Robin was working on a plan to get the return to competency program under control, because it had really bumped up to almost $1.5 million. So she did a really good job on monitoring that. We finished 600,000 less than that. And there was 2 projects that we budgeted last year that didn't get implemented. So the Office 365 got implemented this year, and the Oracle Cloud Stabilization also carried forward to this year. So that's how we did to the budget. It's very, on projections, we're very proud of that. The departments did a great job. We do a bunch of reviews to make sure we think that they're on the line, but I think they did great, and our team did great to make sure that we're budgeting appropriately. And that's it. I plan on coming to the board the first meeting in December to give you a first quarter update. And at that time, I'll maybe have some thoughts on how we're doing on sales taxes and with the shutdown, depending on the length of that. Any questions?
For one, I'd like to congratulate you for giving us a report. Second, I think it's a little late to make some changes when you got a report last year, right? So you have a lot of mental health services that weren't done, you use your license agreement, you have a lot of stuff, but it's over with. You can't do anything about it. It's just a report from last year. Last year ended June 29th. So when you give us a quarterly report, it's going to be a quarter late. Maybe there will be time to make some changes then. Because essentially, I like the way we ended up, I mean, obviously, but the fact that it was in personnel and it was in supplies and services makes me believe that either they save money by not using those supplies and services that much, and the personnel is because we didn't fulfill those vacancies. So in reality, well, that's what I'm saying. If you fill the vacancies, then we calculated more positions than we should have. Because we didn't fill those vacancies, and you have three, almost $4 million less personnel. That worries me a little bit, because we always pride ourselves on not creating new positions, but do we fill the ones that we have open?
I mean, that's been a challenge to get those positions filled and not have the turnover, and I think we're moving the right direction on that.
But
I like supplies and services.
Tony, you said, so I think 2 departments that from 44 vacant or 60. What?
They were the ones that had the biggest decrease over the prior year. So juvenile actually, I think, reduced some FTEs as well last year, but they had 14 vacancies. No, they had 10 vacancies last year. Then they had 4 this year, I think. And then assessor had 4, and then they didn't have any vacancies. So, and it's based on at the end of the year. So throughout the year, I mean, it goes up and down.
That's what I said. I'm concerned with personal savings, but not the supplies and. Well, supplies and services are related to those vacancies, because when you don't have you can't use stuff if you don't have people to use it. So when you have a lot of personnel vacancies, you'll have a lot of supplies and services that are not, because every employee needs to be hooked up to a license. They have to have a license agreement for using Windows and so on and so forth. So saving money on personnel and supplies is the easiest way to save money, but it's not really something that you can continue to have a long time without it causing some repercussions.
Well, it all depends, because obviously, we always, and I've said it, it's no new positions, but I think if a department has not hired someone in the last year and a half, they shouldn't hire it anymore. I'll consider that as a new position, because if they were doing the work without that position, then you hire someone. It's the opposite of at least what I've been pushing for. I just want to remind you, to other departments, it makes it harder for me to make a decision when we doing the budget to give a raise. Because if you had, 4 positions here, 14 over there, that's 18 positions that will get raises, and plus more money that is going out. So, instead of being leaner, that we can manage and give more raises, continue to do that, if we're filling them up, it's the opposite of at least what I've been pushing for. I just want to send that message, and I've said it, I think, a lot of times. For me, it's harder to make a decision and give those raises. Continue with the recommendation from the firm that gave us to continue having good employees or being attracting good employees to Yuma County, but it's just making it harder. Filling up those positions that a department had it empty for a year or a year and a half, actually, they don't need it if they've been doing the work. If we start declining on services or customer service, then we do need it. But it works both ways. Either some employees are not picking up the slack, or they're just, not doing their job. It just kind of, to me, that's the way I see it, and I'm gonna continue to see it. If it comes down to the raises that we're gonna give next budget year goes up, it's either gonna be less to make that up, or at least on my behalf, no raises. So I think that, and I've said it many times to other departments, but obviously, hearing this, yeah, we didn't hire any new positions, but we're filling up positions that were vacant for over a year. That's just not the right message.
I like the leaner, meaner approach. I just like the leaner more than the meaner approach. Leaner government to me means doing more with what you have, and that's fine. But this is the actual outcome. This isn't a theory. This is the actual outcome. We had $3 million worth of savings because we didn't hire as many people. Now, there's got to be a flaw there somewhere. Either we shouldn't have the positions so we can do the raises, or we should be closing the gap a little bit. And those people who had vacancies for a while need to rethink what they have, because every time they come up to us and ask for a new position and don't fill it in a year, we start thinking about, okay, well, we really need the position because they didn't fill it for a year and a half, 2 years. So leaner, I like the leaner part of the meaner. The meaner, I don't like the meaner.
Meaner means that you're gonna do or pick up the slack that position, the other, it was, just kind of doing more. I mean,
It depends on the
we've
position.
been giving raises. I've been, at least on my behalf, that I've been voting for raises the last 9 years.
And I think
So if
3% raise.
if employees are not willing to pick up a little bit the slack of other positions, it just makes me wonder. They're just sitting there comfortable and waiting. If I do it or I don't do it, I'm still gonna get a raise. And that just not, it's not right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my only comment is there are positions that are extremely hard to fill. There are engineers that are hard to fill. There are attorneys that are hard to fill. There are probation officers that are hard to fill.
I totally agree.
There are positions that are open because they are very, very difficult to find people who are qualified for those positions and have the requirements to be able to fulfill those positions. So for some, yes, I feel that that's an issue, but for others, the reason is because they can go to a big city and make a whole lot more money with the degrees and the
So I think
certifications that
we've
they
been
have.
over that up for, I mean.
But I'm just saying,
discussion.
that's why I'm saying with only 40 positions, isn't that what you said? There's only 40 open positions. 40
We have
open
67
positions.
or something. So
40
they filled
open-
they filled 20, and that wasn't attorneys.
I know,
It
but
was, so,
But there are only 40 positions. When we started, if you remember, years ago, there were, it was a huge number of unfilled positions. So I think part of the reason is because we have become more competitive with our salaries and our benefits so that we are able to fill and compete with other organizations within the area. So
Especially in the law enforcement field.
that's
Yeah.
with
The law enforcement field is tough
That's
because you
right.
have so many different agencies that are fighting for the same.
yes. And when you
So filling in law
advertise,
enforcement things,
I mean, I think we've at least gotten up there with the law enforcement. I mean, but it used to be the case. I don't think it's that much
Well, a
anymore.
lot of the positions are hard to fill, like Lynn was saying, to get qualified people. But we also need to maybe work harder on the HR side to be more proactive, to pull people in to fill the spots that are open, so we're staying consistent.
I'm just saying that in order to sustain the recommendation from the salary compensation study, we need to start making sure that we're going to be able to sustain it. If not, that thing can cut the next budget year. And that's the thing that, you know, we fill up. Let's go fill up those 44 vacancies that we have. I guarantee you that personnel money will go up very much.
What does that have to do with the raises, though? Filling up the personnel?
But that's how
No,
our
because
budget, that's how our budget is.
We give raises.
People who don't work here.
Well,
Is that what you mean? Because
no, anybody that gets hired, they're gonna be up for.
On a
I
salary.
remember the money that they send back, it's like an insurance policy, right? You always wanted to have more money than you need for your department, so they return money to the general budget all the time, which was vacancies. So that's not unusual. What I want to get a better grasp of is how does that relate to salaries? Because to me, you don't fill the position because you don't pay enough or some other issue like that. So how does not filling up positions end up being a driver on the raises? Because I don't like studies anyway. I know what the results of studies are going to be.
But we did that study, so
That's what I'm
that study
saying.
came back with a recommendation that we need to give in order to sustain and be more attractive is 3% or 3.5%
Every year.
every year. So you add a position and you add another 3% to it. You add another position and it's gonna be another 3%.
So what does that have to do with the raises of the employees that are
We
already
won't
here?
have that, we
Well,
won't have
if
that
we don't-
positive
If we don't
balance
have
in
the
our
income, how
budget.
can we give a raise?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but this is an over. This is like 6 million over that we had left over. I don't see what that relates to the other. As a matter of fact, I see more space to give more raises and be more competitive. I don't see how it relates to, how the vacancies relate to these salary increases. I think I can understand that the desire not to spend money on something that you don't have, right? And that would be a driver to say, okay, next year's budget, well, let's use the health side as an example, the health expense, because you ended up with $317,000 extra. So how do you match that to us asking for a raise on the health side, on the health cost? That would be something that made me think of a little bit as a benefit person. How do you end up with more money than you budgeted, and you still ask for more money because you think things are going to go bad? Well, things are always going to go bad if you take that approach. You just don't see what relates one relating to the other until I get that we raise the salary of people that aren't existent, so the budget, the deficit or whatever, or the leftover ends up being more. Because you added 3% to people that aren't there. The positions don't exist, but I don't see how that drives a policy that says, okay, well, I'm thinking about the salary increases. I don't see the relationship, but then again, I don't think.
Every year, it's $6 million in raises. Every year, just with the staff we have.
I thought it was 3.
And what we may look at is, if we've got long-term vacancies in certain positions, absorbing them or reclassifying somebody to absorb those positions, and pay that person maybe more. But just get rid of the position and change somebody else's classifications
Yeah,
to
they
where
should
it
be
does
adjusted.
away, where we don't have the excess positions just sitting vacant.
Mr. Chairman, that's an excellent example of working smarter, working leaner, working more efficiently while maintaining a strong, high level of customer service. And this is a great discussion. This is going to be a focus at our long-term planning roundtable in December. And This has been a focus of my messaging to department directors for the last, I don't know how many months now. But your direction is clear. You want to see a leaner, more efficient operation. You know, using those vacancies to augment high performers is a great, smart way to operate. Process improvements. We're on the verge of incredible technology improvements with artificial intelligence, not to replace jobs, but to help people work smarter and better. We have partners such as Arizona at Work that maybe we're not tapping that resource enough. We need to think strategically. There's been an emphasis on long-term planning, risk reduction, and Tony's been at the forefront of that with Robin Stallworth-Buckett. Our strategic plan, our long-term outlook, those things are really going to guide us in making those smart decisions as we look down the line. So excellent discussion. Look forward to more of this too in December at a long-term planning roundtable.
Excellent discussion, Tony.
Tony and Jess Rodriguez will be presenting to really dig in deep on how we can fulfill this vision that the board is very clearly articulating.
And you know, I appreciate that, Ian, but I think that's the message I've been sending or trying to relate for the last 2 years or more. And I think I do recall saying that same thing to all the directors that were there, that the leaner we get, and compensate other employees that are there, that are doing more. But, you know, if it's not being followed, then why have the discussions? I'm just kind of, you know, what I heard today, you know, I think the message that the BRT gives me when we meet here is that, oh, no new FT, you know, TA or whatever. But then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, this department hired or filled positions because they were vacant. To me, like I said, if a department, certain departments, I'm not going to say, because we know that attorneys, law enforcement, we've always had issues trying to keep the employees there or hiring. But there's a lot of departments that if you're without an employee for over a year, you basically don't need it anymore. You've been doing the work
Without it.
without them. Because I haven't heard any complaints.
Oh, you've been carrying that position for
Well,
years.
Yeah, but that's what they haven't. So it just kind of, it just kind of.
You know what? Give us a report on where the vacancies are, and we'll look at every department. Because you cannot just paint 1,800 people with the same brush. I mean, obviously, some departments, like the probation department, are like lacking a lot of people. Maybe they lack more this year than ever. Then the engineering department, there was a while there that we had the development team.
And I think we have a lot of engineers.
So,
Yeah.
so I like to, if you want to dig more into the personnel, just let me know where the personnel is missing. Because with 1,800 people or 1,600 people, it's easy to lose 40. And 40 means a lot in terms of the budget, as we can tell, 44. If you have 44 vacancies and you had it for longer than a year, we need to start looking at readjustments. That's what we're saying. But if you had 10 positions this year and you are not the same department that had 14 positions missing the year before, then there's something going on here that, look, 44 people is almost the staff that I have in a whole organization that's been around for 40 years. So 44 people in a regular organization of hundreds of people may not be as much as we think, but in a budgetary sense, they provide a lot of budget variance, a lot of savings. So maybe we got to look at the personnel differently when we look at it in the year.
So, Chairman Porteous and Supervisor Reyes, last year was the first year, based on your direction, we said no new FTEs, and we also required all the departments to come in and justify why they needed their open positions. And over the last 4 years, the savings that we've had in personnel has decreased. And we were up over 10% 1 year, 8%. So the savings rate of 5.9% is a positive thing. The other thing that we're doing currently in the 5-year planning, long-range planning, strategic sessions that we're having with all the departments and offices is to make sure that they're identifying their risks and opportunities initially. And the very first thing that we're focusing on is looking at your FTEs and looking at your processes to make sure that you're making changes within what you've done. So you need to be able to describe the things you've done to get more lean, efficient. That's a no-cost thing. That could be FTE reductions. That could be utilization of current FTEs in a way that provides better customer service. And that's going to be the focus before you even start talking about adding additional FTEs. And additional FTEs, purely based on your discussion today, is going to be communicated to the departments that's a focus. We're really pushing that, and it's taken a year or so to try to implement that. But that's our focus, is to get leaner and more efficient and utilize the resources that we currently have. Because you look at it long-term model-wise, adding additional FTEs is at some point is going to make us.
Well, if Jonathan Lyons was here, he would say that it's a budgetary issue. That every time we think about changing the tax rate, we're thinking because the county's growing, because there's more expenses. And now when we look at some savings of when you look at a savings of $6 million, you start thinking, well, do we really need to adjust the tax rates? If we want to be leaner, I understand that. I would like to get some historical perspective about where the vacancies have been over the years, because I know they haven't been the same department, because I remember all the departments needing more people, and then or getting leaner and just deciding that they didn't need that many people. So if I get a better sense of what historically those vacancies were or are, then I get a better sense of where the county is going, and I would have to be.
I can incorporate that into the next session. I'll bring up
Especially because we're doing long-term planning. Because whatever we make a decision on now will impact 10 years down the road how the county looks. And I can tell you right now as a comment that I find this very good, the discussion very good, because I think it shows that we're not looking at today, because last year was okay, was better than okay, was good. And we've had good years all around, and we kept it lean, and we kept it, not mean, I don't think it's mean as a word, but we kept it lean because we didn't increase what we could have increased. We didn't do we didn't hire anybody new. We're still trying to fill up the vacancy. So overall, I think it's a good performance. It's just that to make sure that it's that way, and to make sure that those increases are justifiable, we get into an area where I like to know where those vacancies are, and I like to know how can we make it leaner so that we don't spend more, and every year we come up and adjust the tax rate just to cover the new expenses, and we end up with overages like this, or underages, so I don't know what to call it, but obviously you save a lot of money, and most of the money, and that's what I said initially, most of the money is on personnel. $4 million in personnel. The other services and supplies, I mean, obviously they're tied to personnel. If you don't have new licenses and agreements, because you don't have new personnel, it saves all over. So when you have $4 million worth of savings on personnel only, you're going to have savings in supplies and services. It just ties to each other. Okay, that's it.
So my message, and if I know we talked about the levy.
Levy limits, yeah.
If we cannot sustain the increases for the salary increases, I will not ever raise the levy to do that, to cover. That's not the way it should be. So I know we talked about it, and you've shown us that long term and that it's going down. Well, hiring more people, more employees, it will continue to go down, and I'm not going to make it up with that. So we need to be smarter, because I mean, I'd rather pay someone more that it's already here, that they can pick up the extra work, than hiring more people, because that's a continuation. That'd be every year. So that message, and I know I've said it before, but all right.
We'll
Thank
keep
you, Tony.
hammering that message, Chairman. We'll keep getting that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Tony.
you.
You messed up my day, Tony. He left saying good day, and I said, you messed up my day, Tony.
Moving to legislative issues. Alejandro?
Like you're getting ready for that CSA meeting, because it looks to me like
He is.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs for Yuma County. I have to bring my laptop in today. As you know, we're moving into the new building, and it's a little bit chaotic there for printers and computers.
you got that temporary.
Printers, computers, yeah,
Yeah.
you name it, yeah.
Admin's almost over there.
I know,
Mr.
I
Chairman,
know.
this is administration's first day in the new building.
Good. I was gonna ask that at the end anyway.
Take it off.
I noticed.
He sent like 10 emails last week.
I know, but I don't read things like this.
Right, so I'll get started and go straight to the CSA
Summit.
coalition priorities. Yes, we're as you know, and maybe the public should know as well, is that Yuma County will be hosting the CSA Policy Summit this year at the Pivot Point here in downtown Yuma from October 28th through the 30th. We're going to have more than 50 or 60 supervisors coming in from across the state of Arizona, legislators, staff members, and other stakeholders to discuss different policy priorities and proposals that the association may consider to adopt and advocate for during the 2026 legislative session. Just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up of what's coming next week and what we're going to be, what you will be discussing with your fellow supervisors from other counties. I don't mean to read it all. I'll just go briefly over it. Again, I don't have my usual notes with me. So the association is going to be working on making sure that the state acknowledge the counties and I'm sorry, I lost here a little bit. Give me a sec.
You want my
So it's funding. It's mostly funding for the courts, transportation. You're going to be discussing public safety pensions, and again maintaining the flexibility language that they've been working on for several years now. The CSA has. I'll jump straight to the proposals, which we have 17 of to review and discuss next week. Cochise County permanent crops. They want to make sure that those permanent crops are being assessed as part of the properties when those properties go for sale. Yavapai is proposing that supervisors get an increase. Those supervisors who belong to a county that's more than 200,000 people in population get another increase, going close to 95 or 96,000, if I recall well. They argue that some counties, the larger the county, the more work county supervisors have to do, and so they should get compensated accordingly. Coconino County is once again asking the state to fund appropriately, quote unquote, appropriately and sustainably the Wildfire Emergency Response Fund. Pima County is asking for a resolution to resolve that ongoing monies be appropriated to counties for the purposes of coordinated reentry, prisoners reentry, and no county should be specifically excluded from receipt of those funds. Gila County, they're trying to make sure that if the county has to go in and clean up the property, that a bill should be sent out to the property owner as part of the property tax bills and in sales of tax liens. Now I'll get to the one that I really know that I can talk to you about at length is the Solar Energy Consumer Protection.
Ours, yes.
It's a Yuma County proposal. As you know, Supervisor Lyons, Vice Chairman Lyons has for years seen how some solar panel installers across Yuma County have been taking advantage of some of our elders or some other parts of our communities, and they are not checking for roofs to have, be in a good condition, and therefore when the solar companies come in and install those panels, they start seeing leaks on the roof, and they start having to remove the panel, fix the roof, and reinstall the panel. That's an additional cost, an additional payment that the property owner or the consumer has to pay for, and that could be easily prevented with having solar companies inspect that roof and provide some have a certified inspector go in and make sure that the roof is in the right condition. Also requiring solar companies with a documented history of complaints to obtain a third-party inspection for the work once it has been completed. So one is have them go make sure the roof is correct, has the capacity to sustain 10, 20 years of solar panels being installed on top of it. And the other one is if a vendor has already been flagged in the past by the ROC, they will be required to have somebody else go and certify that their work has been done correctly. And all this in an effort not to go against solar companies or the industry itself, is more to protect our consumers. Solar consumers, I'm sorry, our community. And then number 7 from Navajo County. So they're trying to amend the statute to currently prohibiting unauthorized use of the county seal to include use of any county name, logo, or branded identity when coupled with elected office. Number 8, exempt single-person bathtub-style cold plunge units from regulations as given current Arizona Administrative Code. They would not qualify for existing permits. So right now, a cold plunge, above ground cold plunge is considered a spa under statute. And that requires a lot of different permits that it needs to comply with. So the idea is to remove them from that specification of being considered as a spa component. Coconino County and Pima County, they're trying to issue a resolution to protect insurance homeowners and their ability to get a renewal on a yearly basis, especially on those areas that suffer from fires every year. The idea is to give them a little bit of a break and allow them to get a notice 30 days in advance before their insurance may be canceled or not renewed. Also incentivize risk mitigation and mandate transparent communication, again, between the insurance carrier and the customer. Cochise County is asking for open meeting law to be readdressed or be more clear as to what an official discussion really means. This is because they have a 3 board member and they complain about not being able to talk to their peers. So they want to make sure that the open meeting law only penalizes someone for having an actual meeting and enforcing or taking legal action, I should say. So they want to make sure that the statute is a little bit more clear as to what discussion between board members outside of an open meeting is all about. We filed for equitable funding for cesspool and outdated septic system infrastructure, and unfortunately Supervisor Lyons is not here with us today, so he could help us out with this one. Gila, Pinal, and Yavapai County, they want to amend the statute to permit counties to receive forgivable financial assistance from WIFA for the purpose of replacing cesspools and outdated septic system infrastructure. Number 12, Cochise County. They want to add to the Solis property disclosure statement provisions relating to current zoning, proximity to industrial commercial zoning, and restrictions associated with existing zoning. Pima County, they want to issue a resolution with the help of the CSA to support full funding of the State Historic Preservation Office. Right now, federal law requires 40% state match, but Pima wants it to be fully funded by the state. Now, Yuma County, another one from Yuma County. This is the fire code inspection waiver. As you recall, we've had some issues when we started building this new administration building. The state fire marshal, because the city of Yuma grew beyond 100,000 residents since in the last census, that limits or that this allows the city of Yuma to keep conducting fire code inspections on any county or state building with the city limit. So the idea is to allow cities or counties in this case the ability to choose either if they go with a city fire marshal or the state fire marshal. The idea here is to make things more efficient and effective for the county, for counties across the state of Arizona. Right now, the state fire marshal would have to come out and inspect every single building and ask them to come out for every single permit, of any of our buildings on a yearly basis. That we have more than 40 buildings in the city, within the city limits, so that would be not the most effective or efficient use of their time. We're working with the state fire marshal to see if they will be open to this, see if an administrative fix is also an option. But the idea here is to change statutes so that even when a city grows beyond 100,000 residents, they're still allowed to apply for a waiver or request a waiver from the state so they can continue to conduct the inspections of county and state buildings within the city. Now, Cochise County permit the Board of Supervisors to hire, retain, and permanent independent legal counsel without the relationship to or oversight or recommendation from the county attorney. So right now, some districts within the county are allowed to do that, like the community college district. They're allowed to go and do that. The Cochise County wants, apparently, to allow Board of Supervisors on statute to hire, retain, permanent independent legal counsel. Coconino and Yavapai. Again, this is a resolution back in 2022, if I recall well. The state removed a local authority on regards to or remove local control over short-term rental units, or the Airbnbs. But Coconino and Yavapai County continue to see issues and complaints from within their neighborhoods, and they want to bring that back to local control. And then the CSA is asking for a permanent statewide solution to election calendar issues. Also back in 2022, 2021, the automatic recount went into effect. So now that created a lot of friction between the Secretary of State Secretary of the State and the legislature, because that would imply that elections had to be reported on a shorter time frame. And even when in 2024, the legislature came and fixed that to some extent, it wasn't a permanent fix. So the idea is to give our election directors more time to report the election results when there's an automatic recount going on. And I apologize, these are way too many proposals. I'm hoping to have your binders and briefings ready for you by the end of the week.
If the computers work.
Yes, and this came in this weekend. The final version of this came in this weekend. But I'll make sure that the board is fully aware and conversational on every single one of these proposals and priorities that the CSA will be discussing next week. On the federal side, as you know, we continue to have a federal shutdown that's impacting we had planned a tour of MCAS, Marine Corps Station here in Yuma. That's probably not going to be able to happen anymore. We tried to go with CBP, the port director. They're also not allowed to do any tours of their facilities at the moment. So we're looking for another option. We're already talking to Arizona Western College and see if they will take that tour within their facilities.
Entrepreneurial college.
Yes. We're also waiting for Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva to be sworn in. Speaker Johnson is saying that as long as the government doesn't come back to work, and he'll not call the House into session again. So we're still waiting for Congressional District 7 to be fully represented in Congress. Staff submitted a letter from the Board of Supervisors to the Department of Bureau of Reclamations in regards to the transfer of proposed transfer of water from the Colorado River to Queen Creek. And we submitted a letter in opposition to that on October 15th, which was the deadline to submit comments. And we also submitted a letter or a form to the SBA, Small Business Administration, the Ombudsman office regarding PM10 and how pollution coming from Mexico and California impact our readings down here. And hopefully the SBA the Ombudsman's office will take a good look at that and help us out with EPA before the SIP, the State Implementation Plan, is issued and sent out to Washington, D.C. And that will conclude my presentation, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Any questions for Alejandro?
Thank you, Alejandro, for all that work. I know this move has got everybody a little, because, you know, phones aren't working and.
What does EOA stand for? EOA,
Computers aren't
Elected
working
Officials
and- yeah.
Association. What does EOA stand for? It's a CSA EOA. What is EOA? The last one. CSA EOA. What's EOA?
I would say so, sir. Yeah, I would have to check. I will have to
Right.
check for you.
What is EOA? I mean, I thought that you would be.
Election
joining
Officers
forces.
Association or
What?
something like
Election Officers?
that. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, because it's kind of, you know, you move in from 5 calendar days from 5 business days to 5 calendar days, and then you shorten the time to 7 calendar days to report the disposition of provisional ballot. I mean, that's like an election issue that's going to be a little controversial, because it's already been tightened up so much that it almost becomes an impossibility for some of the larger counties to meet that deadline. 7 days. In 7 days, you have to, 7 calendar days, according to this, you have to report. Within 7 calendar days, you have to report the results of an election in disposition of provisional ballot. Now, the disposition to me means where are they going to be? Are they talking about sending the disposition of what happened, or like the results? Because sometimes I don't understand that. So.
We'll hear a little bit more on
Okay,
that topic.
Find it, Alejandro.
There's other.
Trying
That's
to be
okay.
more efficient with ChatGPT. So disclaimer, this is ChatGPT, Election Officials of Arizona, a professional organization of election officials in Arizona.
I thought it was an election issue. Obviously, an election issue. So the legislature is open to just closing that up a little bit. It's up to them. It wouldn't be provisional ballots. I mean, the provisional ballots have a cure time of 5 days, 5 business days. So if you're going to cure a provisional ballot and you're being asked to provide the disposition of those ballots in less than 7 calendar days, it may be an impossibility. I don't even know when you're supposed to provide the disposition. The disposition of provisional ballots? Well, I guess we'll talk about it when we get closer. I really don't understand what they're trying to do here. I mean, if they were just trying to shorten the time by making it 5 calendar days instead of 5 business days, I could understand it. But they also talk about provisional ballots and their disposition, and that clashes with it. Yeah.
Craig will inform us on that day.
All right, we'll see.
And I'll have those briefing books ready for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We'll
Leandro.
have a big discussion at the summit on it. Mhm.
I wish that Democrats.
Thanks, Alejandro.
Republicans in their party.
Any
Reports? Any reports? Just have a question to ask.
Well, we have 40 people in at the summit without a place to tour, but other than that, because of the shutdown, but
Oh, they can just come and tour.
the new
The new
building,
building, like we can do the new building.
the new building, it only took me 20 minutes, so,
We'll have lunch in the tour.
anyway,
I got,
so.
when do we have to have the gifts ready? Because I ordered 200 little black notebooks with the seal, the county seal in it. I should get them this week.
This week.
This
Oh.
week?
Have them ready this week.
Okay,
Good.
and so, and the gifts.
They're for the summit for next week, the 28th.
So let's use the deadline like this Thursday or Friday.
Yes,
At the latest, you gotta turn them in so they can go into the swag bag.
so they can go into them. Yeah,
I got a
thank
swag
you.
bag from Imperial County.
They're
people.
both sitting over there going.
There was nothing in it, like a rock and black rock. Oh,
All right.
keys, there were some keys in it, some key holders.
Is there a
Question.
motion to
No,
go
no,
into
no, wait.
executive session?
Oh,
Move we go
are
into executive session.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That means everybody else has gotta evacuate.
go ahead and reconvene back to regular session. Any work for,
I just have a question for the administrator. What's going on with the Gassen project? I saw the Food Hills project already being designed, but where is the Gassen? Where's the Gassen?
Sheriff's
substation?
office?
Yeah, Sheriff's Office substation. Where is it at? I haven't seen any work out there. It's been a year now.
Chairman Porches, Supervisor Reyes, are you talking about the sheriff's substation?
Yes.
Gassen project? It's currently under construction right now. They've demoed the existing building, the inside of the existing building. Yeah.
From the outside, does it look like?
Yeah, because I
nothing
can say
inside?
we approved that a couple of meetings ago.
Yeah.
Right. And so
They're
there's
demoing the inside.
he
for-
drives,
I drive by
he
there
goes
and
too
look
fast
at
by
it.
there that he
I gotta slow down and look inside.
He goes.
well, you probably don't see much because the work is being done inside,
Okay.
but the contractor's currently working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. All right,
Thank you, Frank. That's it. That's
you need
it.
adjourn.
All right.
There's a big tree there.
I need to go take a closer look.
Frank, let me know about
Replan,
tomorrow,
huh?
if you can get out there.
How do you shut this off anymore?
I might even make the